Hi, good morning. My name is Anna Sawyer and I am your host for Educators First. And today I'm going to come on and talk about how to make your time count. Now this is going to be a continuing ed hour that you are eligible for, whether you're watching live now or you end up watching off of our website, educatorsaretfirst.com. And what you need to do is go through and watch our presentation today, and then at the end there's going to be some questions that you can send to myself or Mallory, but preferably myself, okay? So, like I said, my name's Anna Sawyer. I've worked in the schools for years as a clinical social worker. I work in a hospital also and have been in the field of mental health for about 20 years or so. Many of which I've spent in school, and I've grown up in a home of educators, so I definitely know the stress that you're under. I meet with lots of teenagers and their parents and educators, and I realize the amount of stress that everybody is under right now and how hard education is. So the workbook is on Facebook, or it's on our website, or it has been sent to your email at work. And in that, I have left it open so that you can kind of fill in what we're talking about today. And like I said, if you have any questions, please reach out. Okay, so making your time count. Now, the benefits of time management. I'm sure many of you know a lot of different benefits that we have, right? You know, if we're able to manage our time, we are reducing our stress, we're reducing our anxiety because we already know what's next. We've already planned enough time in between. You know, we've already kind of worked out all those kinks. Increasing productivity, of course, right? If we're more organized, if we're more on task, if we're more focused, then we're going to be improving our productivity. And that's not just at work, but that's also at home. You know, those days where you're just kind of like wandering around and don't really know what's going on, just kind of doing different things. If you had some time management or you had kind of a plan for the day, what would happen is that you would be able to obviously be more productive, right? Get more done, feel a little more organized. Another benefit of time management is that it can improve your self-esteem, right? Well, how does it do that? Well, for people who have poor time management, maybe they're late for meetings, right? And you're kind of, I'm always the last one in there. So you feel a lot better when you show up on time. Or if you're kind of always disorganized, you know, that doesn't always feel so great when other people kind of feel like they're more together than you are. It helps you achieve a balance in life, work, balance, okay? That, you know, as we go through some of the things we're going to talk about today, you will be able to see how organizing your time a little bit better, being more organized, being able to kind of schedule yourself, how that will allow you to have more of a balance in your life. How if you're cutting things off at home or having schedules, then your work life is not kind of just like sinking right in. Let's see. Another thing is avoiding meltdowns and feeling overwhelmed, okay? Well, those times where I am just so overwhelmed, you know, I need to go back to writing a list, okay? That's one of the things we're going to talk about today. You know, when everything is kind of crazy and everybody's doing different things and I have so many thoughts going on in my mind, what I need to do is I need to go back to my lists and start prioritizing and start figuring out what I actually should be worrying about versus not. Another benefit. More confidence, okay? You know, we always feel better when we're on time, when we have met our deadlines, when it feels like we completed tasks, we feel so much better. And the last one is we can reach our goals, right? Otherwise, our goals can just kind of go on forever, right? But you're able to reach your goals. We're going to talk about that a little bit today, too, in terms of time management in the bigger scheme of life, and not just and yeah, we're going to talk about time management and all aspects and how it can help us get to where we want to go. Okay, so I did leave a couple of extra spots on that for you to add in some other benefits that you see. So I'm going to run down that list again, and you can just kind of toss it in there. So the first was reducing stress and anxiety. Another benefit is increased productivity, improve self-esteem, achieve a balance in life, avoiding meltdowns and feeling overwhelmed, gaining more confidence, and being able to reach your goals. So those are benefits of improving our time management. And like I said, I encourage you to toss down one or two more if there are other benefits that you're seeing. So the next page talks about, steps to managing our time. So the presentation that we have today is really going to kind of go in order of the beginning, like all the steps that we need to take, and start with a broader picture and keep kind of narrowing it down until we're down to setting that goal. Okay. Benefits of time management, right? Okay, so the steps to managing our time. The first thing that we're going to want to do is what's called like a thought or a list dump. We just want to put all of those things that are on our mind and put them on paper. It doesn't have to make sense. They don't actually have to be tasks. They can just be all the things that are running through your head that you have to get done. Figuring out how to get a kid to to school for transportation, figuring out how to make it to school in an early IEP meeting, figuring out how to get to a basketball game tonight when you're really supposed to be over here doing this for somebody else. Okay, so the first step is doing just a thought or list dump and putting it all out there. Now that you have like this major kind of piece of paper with all kinds of scrambled thoughts and whatnot on it, I want you to put those thoughts into lists or categories. Figure out how to divide your paper up and just kind of clump them in different areas, because some of your thoughts might actually be overlapping with each other, and once you actually put them into either categories of kind of what needs to get done or actual lists, you will start to be able to put them all together, right? So you did your thought and your list dump, you put it all out there, and now you've kind of put your thoughts into some lists, into some categories, and now you're going to prioritize. So you're going to take a list of everything, take a look at everything that you put down there, and now you're going to start to prioritize. Now we are going to go over some techniques after this to talk about how we even figure out how to prioritize what we need to do. Because when I'm feeling overwhelmed, everything feels like it's a priority, even though it's not. It really isn't. It just feels like it. Okay? So the next thing is, once we prioritize, we're going to make a plan. Okay? And then we're going to schedule it in. So our steps for, our basic steps, our outline of our steps are doing a thought or list dump, putting your thoughts into lists and categories, then prioritizing, making a plan, and then putting it into your schedule. Now, I want to take a few minutes to kind of talk about scheduling, okay? And as you can see on your sheet, there's 3 little arrows at the bottom, and that's for the different types of schedules I'm going to tell you about right now. And there's lots of other type of scheduling techniques that you can do, but here are some that tend to work well for others. One is on our phones, on our computers, electronic calendars. You can set reminders automatically to keep you on track. You can coordinate your calendars with other family members, with work, so you can kind of click through and see what everybody's doing and make sure you don't have conflicts. Now that is a great way to coordinate everybody. For those of us who are not as excited about doing everything electronically, a real planner. Real paper, get a real calendar, get a real planner, and you can view those by days, by weeks, by month, whatever's going to be easiest for you to kind of keep you on track. And then the last is block scheduling. So what block scheduling is like when you're looking at your day, you're just kind of blocking out chunks of time. Okay, you're not actually blocking out tasks, but time. So I'm going to spend an hour today preparing for a presentation, but just an hour. After that, I'm going to move on. Okay, and so if we just kind of put a block, it's going to keep us more on track, and we can kind of judge how much time we need in a day to do different activities, and also allows us, like, we have a huge block, well, that's work, but now that I'm home, I have an hour that I'm going to block out just to spend time with the kids. And an hour later on tonight that I'm checking my emails and I'm checking my work for tomorrow morning. But that way I'm not doing it all evening, right? So the most important thing about scheduling and calendars is that you do what works best for you. It's different for all of us. I personally sometimes do electronic calendars. I have my planner because I really like to write things. Different for everybody. And I definitely use block scheduling to kind of keep me on track, especially on the weekends or when I did a lot of working from home at the beginning of the pandemic. That definitely helped. So, like I said, we're going to talk about a couple of different ways to prioritize what you have to do, okay? And the first thing I'm going to talk about is the Eisenhower decision matrix, okay? And this should be right in order in your packet, but it is the, looks like this, okay? So if you look at that matrix, okay, at the top you have urgent and non-urgent, and on the left-hand side you have not important and important, okay? So as most of you are in education, I'm sure you kind of get how this matrix works, but we're going to go over it really quick to refresh everyone's memory. So in the upper left-hand corner, you are going to look and you're going to see important and urgent, okay? And so let's say that I need to make an appointment for the dentist. Okay. Is that important? Yes. Is it urgent? Not yet. So I'm going to put it over in that right-hand column, okay, which is schedule a time soon. Okay. So over you have important and non-urgent is when you schedule a time soon. So like my dentist appointment, I'm going to schedule a time soon for. Let's see, I need to get to the vet, and that's really actually an emergency to get my dog there. So that's not only important, but it's urgent, and so that's a do it now. Now, if it's not really important, but it is urgent, but it's not really important for you, that's when you're going to delegate this to somebody else. Like, who else can do this? It really needs to get done, but it is not really on my priority list to get it done. And then if it's not important and it's not urgent, delete it, get rid of it, eliminate it. That might have changed over time because we kind of procrastinated enough so it's not even an issue, or maybe we were worried about things we just didn't need to worry about and it really shouldn't have been a task that was on our plate, okay? So when you're looking at that matrix again, upper left-hand corner is do it now. To the right, under not urgent, is schedule a time soon. And the lower left-hand box is delegate, who else can do this task. And then over in the not urgent and not important, we have delete and eliminate. Okay, so that is one way to really just kind of look at a task and figure out, what do I do? Is it important? How do I prioritize? And by using this matrix, then you really can start to prioritize what needs to get done. Those things that are over there in that upper left-hand corner, well, those need to get done. Like that needs to get done. Okay. And so this is the Eisenhower decision matrix. What I've done is I kind of look at this a little differently. So I've taken the model of the Eisenhower decision matrix, and if you flip the page, you can see that I made an adapted one, right? Okay, so on the adaptive one, actually what I've done is I've made columns because that's easier for me than looking at the matrix and then having to have those in those squares and then move them somewhere else. So I have columns, and my columns are urgent, soon, schedule, delegate, and delete. Okay, so obviously if it's urgent, I do it now, right? That's my list of things I need to get done today. Okay, I consider doing it soon, doing it this week. So that dentist appointment that needs to be soon, I should call this week. Okay, the next one is something that just needs to be scheduled. It's a little further off. I need to do it this month. I just need to get it scheduled and on the books. Not super important, but it needs to get done. Okay, thinking about a task, once again, delegating. Who else could be doing this? If I'm at work and I have so much stuff to do, can I delegate this to somebody else? Can somebody else help? Or honestly, should it have been someone else's to start with, right? And the last is delete. Do I need to complete this anymore? is this even an issue anymore? I mean, sometimes we all procrastinate enough that something is not an issue. Not the best way to deal with things, but it's true, right? And when I think about delete, I also think about emotional baggage that is attached to some of these tasks. And we really need to get rid of that emotional baggage, okay? Because things that are hard to clean up, things that are, all of the stuff that gets in our way of feeling and getting on time and being organized and prioritizing, there's a lot of emotional baggage that is tied up with how we prioritize things, how productive we feel, what makes us feel productive. And that's different for everybody. So if this is how I really plan, when I'm feeling overwhelmed, what I've done is I put everything down on paper and I've made it just a list. And honestly, I don't even then categorize it. What I do is I use this adapted Eisenhower column list that I've made, and I figure out, is this something I should be doing today, this week? Should I just be scheduling it out? And I think of things like eye doctor's appointments, which is really 3 months away, but I need to schedule it now so I can get in. Delegate. Who else can do this? And at the very least, this really makes me start to think about, should this actually be mine? Or am I just helping somebody else, or am I taking on somebody else's tasks for my own reason, which I really do not need to be doing? We all have plenty on our plates. And I think we all hold on ownership for a lot more than we really should be. So what else can we delegate? What else can we give to people? And then once again, that last one, delete. What don't I actually need to do? What felt like a priority as it was running through my mind, but it's not actually a priority? One, maybe it is nothing I can control, which means I need to delete it and get it off my list, get it off my plate, right? Because the other thing that is really helpful is when you have Word or list dumps, just getting everything out there, it allows it so that we're not having to think about it in our brains anymore. We don't have to hold on to it. We've put it down on paper, and now it's not ours to remember anymore. And that, I think, is where some of that delete comes from also. Things we're just holding on to, I really need to volunteer to drop some food off for my kids' basketball game. Well, now it's the end of the basketball season. I can definitely delete that off my list because I never actually accomplished it. And so hopefully with a schedule like this, that's the idea, is that you do get to accomplish it, that you do start to feel confident, that you're one of those parents who does donate and who is together enough to pull together homemade items for the bake sale. Right. And that's where that time management really does, seep in, and it helps our self-esteem, and, and we do feel a lot more productive because we really are, right? So these are how personally I have really worked to guide my day, to really tease out what's important in my life and what's not important in my life. And I actually do this in 2 different colors. I probably could do 3 though, actually. One is personal and one is work. Okay, so I have the same columns going on. I just have 2 different color pens so that I can actually kind of see the difference and prioritize that way. And then what I do is with these, now that I prioritize my urgent and my soon, I now can do a block schedule. Right? And I can block out all those urgent things. Well, from 8 to 9 today, I'm going to be running errands because that's on my urgent list of things I need to do. Okay? And when I come home, I think it's really important that I take my dog for a walk, but I'm going to have some things to do in between. So I'm going to put that later on in the day. So I don't need to keep remembering that I need to take the dog for a walk. It's already on my list. I already am going to do that at 4 o'clock today, So it's taking off all of these things that we're automatic, that we're worried about, that's on there that we're trying to hold in our brain. Okay? Now, ways to organize your thoughts. The bottom of this page is ideas to organize your thoughts. There are so many ways to organize thoughts. Okay? Some of my favorite ways to organize my thoughts are Post-its. I love Post-its. Okay. Now, one problem is with Post-its, they get everywhere, right? And you can tend to have lots of them sticking on your computer, on your laptop, here and there. One thing that I sometimes do is I put them all in a notebook. Like, I end up having so many Post-its, I just put them in a notebook and I can kind of flip through and see what all my Post-its are about. Also, haven't you noticed that Post-its are not as sticky as they used to be, so they tend to fall off things a lot, and that, keeps all my Post-its in one place. They have Post-it apps, they have Post-its for computers, all different sorts of things, but I actually like the real Post-its. Now, when I have tried to organize my thoughts and when I have tried to put together presentations or trainings that I've done, and I have to break it up, I use Post-its and I put them right on the wall in columns, and then I'm able to move them in terms of I want to talk about healthy boundaries in Unit 2. Okay, but I had it over here in Unit 5, but now I'm going to move it over. And so it allows me to actually physically take those Post-its and move them in different places, because for me visually it helps to kind of see what I'm planning, and then I can move it around. I wish I had taken a picture of some of my Post-it walls because they're really great. So I love Post-its. Now, the next thing I really love is whiteboards. I think whiteboards are the best. I can put things on and I wipe them off. I move them around. I'm not constantly erasing things. I have whiteboards and use them in many different ways, in terms of task lists, in terms of bills, just kind of random thoughts that I have. I just scribble up there. Something that I'm just trying to keep in my mind for a few minutes. If I don't have a notebook beside me where I'm actually trying to write my thoughts down, put it right up there on the whiteboard. Okay, great, because other people in my family can look at that and either know what's happening or, it can help guide them. They can put a note up there for me if they need to. So whiteboards are great for so many different reasons. Computers now have whiteboard apps. Phones have whiteboard apps. Google has a whiteboard where, you can collaborate with your coworkers on the whiteboard. Let's see. Organize your thoughts. You can use a notebook. Plain, simple notebook. Piece of paper. I think the challenge with, a piece of paper is that it can easily get lost. And part of the ideas of trying to stay organized and trying to manage your time is not losing our little pieces of paper with lists of things to do. Not helpful at all. And the last piece is, apps. Our phones have so many different apps on how to organize. We have the notes section. I know we have so many different apps out there. And on the computer that you can use to, organize your thoughts, to get them out there, to share them with others. Because that's huge in terms of collaboration with our peers. So yeah, and it really is just about what works best for you or what works best for your school system that you work in. For me, the places that I've worked, I've always kind of taken what they give and then I adapt it a little bit more so that it works for what I need and it can work in work and personal. The more streamlined things are, the easier it is for me. Having to open up several calendars for different aspects of my life, that's where mistakes get made because I'm not managing my time well, I'm not organizing things well enough, and, that's where things get lost. That's where, a kid forgets to get picked up. Hasn't happened, but it could, and it does a lot. So, those are some ways to organize your thoughts once you figured out how to prioritize them through this Eisenhower matrix or through how I've adapted it. And you really can adapt it any way you want to also. It's really about figuring out what works for you best. Okay? Okay. So, make it happen. Okay, so now we've kind of organized ourselves, we've gone through the matrix, we've prioritized. Now what do we need to do? The first thing you need to do is set a goal. What do you hope to achieve? Set that goal, okay? And then the next thing after that is you want to plan. You want to make a plan, right? So here's my goals. How am I going to get there? What's my plan to make this work? And then you can kind of create, what is the aspect of what you're doing? What's the project that you need to do? What do you have to complete in order to implement your plan? Now through that, the project, and you're kind of looking at what you need to do, you're going to prioritize those steps of that project, right? And from prioritizing those steps, you're going to have to-do lists, and then you're going to create tasks, okay? So I'm going to run through that again, and you can put them down in the bullets that I have. So the first one is to set a goal. What do you want to achieve? From that goal, you're going to make a plan. Okay, so number 2 is plan. Number 3 is, what are you doing? What is your project? How are you putting that plan into place? Like, what are you actually doing? Okay, and now that you figure out what you're actually doing, what do you need to do to get there? What is your priorities? What do you need to do first in order to get there? And you can use these same matrix that I've shown you for just little pieces of individual projects also, to help you look at it and figure out, this actually is really important. Or actually, no, the designing of the logo for this project could be a lot later. It doesn't need to be the first thing I do, even though that's like the most exciting part. Okay. Priority, you're prioritizing what's most important. The second to bottom bullet is to-do list, right? After you prioritize, what do you need to do? And the last is from that to-do list, your tasks, okay? So that's goal, plan, project, priority, to-do list, and tasks, okay? And so that's, you can see how we have walked through all the steps of keeping ourselves organized, right? We started with our word dump and our list dump, and we put it all out there, okay? After that list dump, we have looked at ways to categorize it, ways to prioritize it, and then how do we actually implement it? We prioritized everything. We know what we need to do. We know that's important. So we'll make it really simple and basic like at home. So my goal for today, let's say, is to get the laundry done. Sometimes that's a ginormous task. It really is, especially folding and putting away the clothes. So my goal is that. My plan, how am I gonna get that done? Well, I'm gonna do that today. Let's see, my goal is to get it done by 5 o'clock. And so, the actual project in this is actually washing and drying the clothes, right? But the priority is washing first, right? You can't dry them first. Your priority is figuring out I'm going to wash, and then I'm going to dry, and then I'm going to fold and put away. But with that to-do list, like first you have to sort the laundry, right? You have to bring it downstairs, or the different tasks involved. Okay, now the example of the laundry is probably a little basic for what I'm trying to show you, but you can really see how you kind of break down any task that feels overwhelming. Because to be honest, laundry can feel overwhelming. Dishes feel overwhelming some days, a lot of days. And when we're feeling really overwhelmed, that's when we need to go back and look at what should I be prioritizing? What do I need to be doing, and where does my focus need to be? Okay? So, what's next? Ooh, nice. The other everyday lists. So a lot of what we've talked about kind of comes down to different ways that we make lists. Okay, and there's a couple of other lists that are recommended to really help with time management, to keep your life on track, to make life a little easier for all of us that have really, really busy schedules that do not want to think about, let's say, dinner when we come home. Some of us are great and plan ahead. Many of us are not. We're fly by the seat of our pants, got home, and oh, whoops, we have dinner tonight. Like we didn't have to make dinner every other night this week. But it's a surprise. So one thing that are great everyday lists is a meal plan list. Make it a lot easier, and if you have picky kids, picky spouses, figure out the meal list at the beginning of the week. What am I going to do for meals this week? And by that, I'm just going to make a grocery list. They actually have apps that do all of these things. They have apps that tell you what groceries to buy specifically, what stores they're at, the prices that they're at. I mean, there's lots of different ways to do this. But meal plan lists, that is great. Another way, to save time when you're thinking about things, there's crock pots, okay? It's trying to plan ahead and what can I do to make tomorrow night's dinner easier tonight? Can I take some things out to thaw them? Can I prep them, okay? And if you're thinking and you're connecting all the dots, all of the things I've talked about so far work in a meal plan list in terms of the priority, which is making, dinner, like what do I need for food and whatnot, okay? So recommend a meal plan list. The next is a great everyday list is a budget. First one is meal plan list, second one's a budget. Think about how much mental and emotional time we spend thinking about money. Worrying about money, worrying about paying bills. Now, if we actually sit down and go through the tough anxiety and actually make a budget and make a plan and look at what we get regularly for paychecks, what extras do I want to spend money on? Am I able to get my nails done this week? Am I able to go and pay for my soccer, the fees for soccer, and you're all stressed and you're all worried and how am I going to get this done? But if you're looking at like a monthly budget and you're having a budget, you're able to know, no, I have enough time. No, I need to wait till my next paycheck to do that. But by having a budget, it takes so much stress and anxiety and mental and emotional stress out of it. It takes arguments with your partner out of it. And just, when money is tight, you're focused on it a lot. And that's stressful. The next bullet is goals and gratitude. Now, once you really start to get your life on track and you're starting to feel like you're managing your time well, two great lists are goals and gratitude, okay? It is great to set your goals, to know what your goal for tomorrow is, to kind of review the day and be grateful for the different benefits that have happened today. And for me, when I think about the priority of lists, that's great and that kind of keeps us focused, but this meal plan and budget, very helpful to take away stress. Goals keep you focused. Gratitude is so important, especially when everything is so stressful right now. It is hard to figure out what to be grateful for. It really is. So the last list that I think is great is self-care. So we had a meal plan list, budget, goals and gratitude, and self-care, okay? And what I love about this is if we are not actually making self-care a priority, it is not happening. Not happening at all, okay? So you need to schedule it in. And now that I've created all this kind of extra time for you by utilizing some of these skills, ideally you can use that extra time for self-care, okay? And you need to put it in your schedule. You need to make it consistent because it won't become a habit and we won't prioritize ourselves unless we put it in our schedule. We put everybody else first all the time. We need to put ourselves first because you can't pour from an empty cup, okay? So the next page that I want to talk about is creating a to-do list. Is time management techniques. Okay, and with time management techniques, I'm going to give you a lot of these, most of them pretty self-explanatory. First bullet is creating a to-do list. Great way to manage your time. What do I need to do? Use checklists. Who does not love to cross things off and check things off their list of what they need to get done? Declutter your space. So the first one was declutter your desk, declutter your computer, declutter your kitchen table that you work at. Clean that area up because there'll be a lot less distractions and you can focus on what you should be focusing on. Okay, which is funny. The next one is focus on your current task. Don't multitask. If you are supposed to be sitting down grading papers, grade papers. Don't look at Facebook and Instagram and check on what's going on. Just sit down and grade your papers, okay? Because it's going to get completed a lot sooner by just focusing on the task. Plan tomorrow's task today. So make life a little easier and plan for tomorrow, Okay, think about before you go to bed, what's my plan for tomorrow? What do I need to get done so that when I'm waking up, I'm not like running around like crazy, like, oh my gosh, what do I got to do today? Look, who's going to make dinner? Who's going to do this? Who's going to do that? All before 7 o'clock in the morning as you're late running out the door. Okay? Allocate task time slots. So this is really this idea about block scheduling. Okay? When are you going to get these tasks done? Okay? Eliminate online time killers. That is the scrolling aimlessly through social media or watching lots of little YouTube videos or whatnot. That just kills time, and we're not getting anything done, and you can get sucked into that for hours. Last one is eliminate interruptions and phone calls. Okay, and when we're thinking about that, okay, that's pretty self-explanatory. Put your phone down. Don't answer the phone. Hit ignore. And that's hard, and I've been trying to do that a lot lately when people call, is I hit ignore, because I'm in the middle of actually doing something and I don't need to be distracted. You know, remember back before cell phones, where somebody used to just leave a message at home and you weren't expected to answer, you weren't expected to respond back very quickly? You know, try to remember that. It's not an emergency, and if it was, they'd call back, they'd get a hold of somebody else to let you know what's going on. Really put your phone away. Put those interruptions away, including family and kids. So I'm going to run down those bullets for you again, okay? So our first one was create a to-do list. Second one, use checklists. Third, declutter your desk/kitchen table. Declutter your computer. Get rid of all those distractions that are on your computer, all those open tabs that you really do not need. The next bullet is focus on your current task. Okay. Next one is plan tomorrow's task for today. Okay. Next one is allocate task time slots. Eliminate online time killers. And eliminate interruptions and phone calls. Okay. So those are different time management techniques that work in anything that you're doing. So what I need to do really quickly is pull up the questions that I wrote, because actually I didn't have it here, so hold on. I don't know why I wouldn't have printed it out. That would be that lack of organization and time management, right? Let me open this up for you. Okay, so now that we've gone through the course and have learned about how to manage our time, how to organize things, how to prioritize, that's our training. So the questions that are actually in your workbook also, I need you to answer, reflect on, and send me a message and let me know that you did that, and let me know your answers, and I'll send you out a certificate. But the questions are, the first one is rate yourself on time management. 1, I am perfect, I am great, I don't need any help. 10, I am a hot mess, I have 0 time management skills. Number 2 is, what area can you improve on? I don't even care if you're a 1 or you think you're a 1, what can you improve on? What's your plan? How are you gonna improve on that? Number 4, what's the first step? What do I need to do first? What's your start date? Doesn't have to be today. Is it next month? What is your start date of when you're gonna, of what you chose? Next question, number 6, being, what do you hope to have space in your life for? By managing this extra time, what do you hope to have space for? What do you hope to create time for? Some self-care, to go outside in the playground with the kids, to have some more like mental space, emotional space. And number 7 is, with that extra time, what are you going to do specifically for yourself? You know, often we create space in our lives and it gets filled up by other things very, very quickly. So what do you want to do with that extra time? And circle around and make that your goal. I want to have extra time to do this. okay? If you have any questions, please reach out. I am happy to speak with you about anything. You can reach out via email or messenger. Like I said, send me the answers to the questions, and I will send you a certificate. And I hope that you are all doing really well. Okay.